Hello everyone and welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. Today I've got a fun one for you. We are running Megatron Tyrant. This guy's design is amazing, alright? I know it's a transformer and that's going to turn people off right away, but this card's pretty fun and I'm going to tell you why. This guy's his own engine. Not only can he sacrifice massive artifacts to do a lot of damage, but then you convert him and you get the mana to cast more artifacts. All you'll need is the card draw and this deck puts itself together. Without further ado, let's get into our first category, big fucking artifacts. We have Worm Coil Engine. I love this guy because we're going to sacrifice him, and when we do, he's going to replace himself with 2 additional artifacts. Triplicate Titan is going to do the exact same, except for we're going to get 3, and he's a 9/9. Next up, Phyrexian Tritiform. I think you guys can see a little bit of a pattern here. Mirror Battlesphere, again, enters the battlefield, we sacrifice it, and we're going to get additional artifacts off of them. There's a lot of ways to sacrifice those tokens for value in the deck, so just stay tuned for that. Scuttling Doom Engine, he's going to enter the battlefield, we're going to sacrifice him, and he's going to deal 6 damage on his way out. Skitter Beam Battalion. Notably, this guy only triggers on cast, but we still welcome him into the deck, because our boy Megatron over here only cares about converted mana cost. So instead of doing that 4 damage, he's actually going to do 9, which is really useful. Ancient Stone Isle, just a big boy that drops another big boy whenever he dies. Cityscape Leveler. I don't see us sacrificing this guy. We're just going to let this guy sit on the battlefield and do what he does. This is why our commander's so good. He's like, if Neheb and Bosch Iron Golem had a baby, that's kind of where we're at with this guy, and I'm into it. Su-Chi Cave Guard. Whenever this guy dies, we're going to go ahead and add 8 colorless to our mana pool. Pretty insane. Portal to Phyrexia. Again, our commander is so good because he only cares about the converted mana cost. He doesn't care if it's a creature or not. So Portal Phyrexia enters the battlefield and we're going to be able to bring bigger artifacts back from our graveyard using it. It's really good. Phyrexian Flesh Gorger. This guy's just in here because, let's be honest, he's awesome. And he's big, so he fits the theme. Metal Worker Colossus. Look at that CMC up there, right? Spine of Ishsa. This one has an incredible engine to it, right? Because we'll sacrifice it, or we'll bring it onto the battlefield. We'll sacrifice it, it'll go back to our hands, and then we'll be able to bring it back onto the battlefield. Pretty crazy, right? Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to spend 8 mana for every creature we cast, so we have a heavy recursion package. Let's get into it. We have Goblin Welder. Basically, sacrifice one of our artifacts on the battlefield, and we get to bring an artifact from our graveyard onto the battlefield. Pretty simple, 1 mana, kinda stupid. Felden of the Third Path. This only works on creatures, but we don't really care about that because they're going to bring it onto the battlefield and our commander's going to sacrifice it anyway, so who cares. Workshop Assistant, Scrap Trawler, Mirror Retriever, and Junk Diver. If you guys watch my videos, you know if it's an artifact deck, you're going to see these guys. This will make it to where you have access to your graveyard almost the whole game, and I love including them in decks. Osgir the Reconstructor. This guy's insane in the deck because not only can he duplicate all of our little mana rocks, but he can duplicate our big massive artifacts, and our commander is going to give us the mana to do that. He's insane in the deck and I'm pretty excited to try him out. Nim Deathmantle. This one's really good because we don't have to have it attached to anything to use its ability, right? So if our commander dies, we pay the 4, our commander comes back, and he never died. Additionally, it works on the artifacts we're sacrificing, right? We sacrifice a big 10/10. We don't really want to have to bring it back any other way, but we'll go ahead and bring it back with the 4 mana, right? Pretty simple. We get the mana from sacrificing the 10/10 anyway, and then we just bring it back to the battlefield. Additionally, Nim Deathmantle is pretty broken in the deck because you pair it with Worm Coil Engine, Triplicate Titan, Phyrexian Tritiform, anything like that, it'll go infinite with Krark Clan Ironworks, which we are also running in the deck. Resurrection Orb. This one's pretty similar, but not as good. We have to equip it to our creature, so once our living metal goes away, it's going to fall off our commander. But it's going to be really good for equipping it to whatever we're trying to sacrifice, because then we'll just pay the 4 mana and bring it back, and we'll have it to sacrifice next turn. Pretty good. Phyrexian Delver, again, we're probably going to pay a lot of life for this guy, but it's going to be worth it. Scarecrow, pretty simple, pay 4 mana, bring a big artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. It does have to be a creature though. Chainer Nightmare Adept. I'm really happy with this one because not only is it going to give our massive artifact haste, but we can cast it from our graveyard, so pretty useful. With recursion out of the way, let's look at the core of the deck. We have Sneak Attack. Pretty simple. Pay 1 mana, put a giant artifact onto the battlefield, and sacrifice it to our commander. Perforos Bronze Blooded. Again, this one's really good. It's basically like a sneak attack, and it's going to give our creatures haste. Altar of Dementia. We do run wheel effects, but this is just going to guarantee that we get that graveyard nice and fat. Next up, we have Saheeli's Directive. Imagine sacrificing a massive artifact creature and then converting our commander to add a lot of mana to our mana pool and then pumping it all into this spell. We could get several artifacts off the top. And we are running Terror of the Peaks and Warstorm Surge in this deck, so honestly it could end the game or kill an opponent on the spot. Imhotep the Stormlord. Not only is this going to buff up our commander, which is pretty underrated, it's also going to create a lot of those little Necron warriors whenever we're filtering our big artifact creatures in and out of our graveyard. He's going to be really good in the deck, and honestly, I'm excited to see how he performs. Lastly, I'll leave you with this one, Shadric Silverquill. Now, this is why you guys should subscribe, because I'm going to give you guys that secret tech. At first glance, you're probably like, why the heck is this in the deck? But look at our commander. He's going to deal excess damage to our opponent, and that's going to go ahead and give us more mana. So we're going to gift them that little white and black inkling, and then we're going to destroy it with our commander. So basically, we're going to deal almost all of the damage to their face instead of just, maybe they have a 4/4 and then the rest goes to their face. Nah, they're going to basically take all of that damage because we're going to be gifting people 1/1s. Additionally, it's just going to draw you a card, so it's pretty useful on top of that. Alright guys, for our next category, let's go ahead and look at the ramp, because if we don't have our commander on the field, we still need the deck to work. So we have Neheb the Eternal. Kind of like our commander, not as good because he doesn't deal the damage necessarily, but it can still add a lot of damage to our mana pool. The Reaver Cleaver. We are running massive artifact creatures. Equip this to one of them and then create a lot of artifacts. Smothering Tithe. This one's just a staple in every white deck, and it's going to be perfect in this one because sometimes you see people use Smothering Tithe and they don't have anywhere to put that mana. Well, we're going to have places to put that mana. Illuminator Saras. We can go ahead and sacrifice one of our massive creatures to go ahead and cast another massive creature. Kind of like our commander, but not exactly. Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Again, you can kind of see the theme, right? We're going to create a lot of mana by dealing a lot of damage. Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Boros Signet, Orzhov Signet, and Rakdos Signet. All really good in the deck. We can get it down really early and make sure we're not dirtling early game. Finally, we have Krok Clan Ironworks. Like I said, this goes infinite with a couple of other cards like Nim Deathmantle and any creature that brings at least 2 fodder onto the battlefield. Notably, Imhotep the Stormlord, Krok Clan Ironworks, and then sacrifice any artifact with Nim Deathmantle on it and it'll go infinite as well. Alright guys, let's take a look at the removal. Our commander's going to remove a lot of the creature issues, so I kept most of the removal to either board wipes or permanent removal. We have Vandal Blast. This is going to get rid of all those pesky treasure tokens and kill everyone's mana rocks in the process. Mythos of Snapdox. This one's really good and I don't think I see it enough. Honestly, we're going to pick out their worst things to keep, we're going to pick the best things to keep, and everybody sacrifices everything else. Terror of the Peaks and Warstorm Surge. Again, these are going to be amazing in the deck because of the amount of giant creatures we're bringing onto the battlefield. Canoptic Tomb Sentinel. I see this card becoming a staple in any recursion deck because honestly, it's really good. Ondu Inversion. It's a land, might as well throw it in every white deck, am I right? Their name is Death, another one-sided board wipe, which is pretty cool. Mandate of Abaddon. Has 7 attack, so good luck getting anything higher than that. Organic Extinction. Again, another one-sided board wipe that we can just use our artifacts to help us cast it. Generous Gift. They can't get mad at you because you gave them something. That's how this card works. Lastly, guys, let's cover that card advantage. We have Shahil Clockwork Scholar. Not only is this going to make our commander indestructible, but it's going to go ahead and draw us some cards. Combustible Gearhulk. Honestly, they're going to let you draw the cards because good luck if they don't. They're going to take a lot of damage. Ruin Grinder. Again, we're trying to fill that graveyard and this guy fits that category perfectly. Faithless Looting, if it's in our graveyard, we can use it. And honestly, it's one of the best cards to draw in your opener. I'm never dissatisfied with it. Jessica's Will. This card's too insane not to include it in the deck. Not only is it going to help you cast those massive artifacts, but it's going to let you draw 3 cards off the top, or exile 3 cards off the top, you know. Wheel of Misfortune, the best card no one plays. Honestly, it's not that hard though. I'm gonna explain it real quick. Whoever chooses the least life does not wheel at all, and then the other 3 players will wheel, and whoever bet the most life will take that much damage. Pretty good, and honestly, I think it needs to be seen in more play. Black Market Connections, this card's becoming a quick staple. Honestly, it draws you cards, it ramps you a little bit, it does everything you need it to do. Dark Deal, like I said, we are running some of those wheels, and this one's perfect. Reforge the Soul, this one's just another wheel. Really effective to fill that graveyard. Disciple of Bolus. Now listen, this card's going to be amazing in the deck because imagine we just bring a 10-10 from our graveyard. Go ahead and sacrifice it and draw 10 cards, gain 10 life. Yeah, I'm pretty much into that. Solemn Simulacrum. This guy is not to be played once in the deck. We're going to be rifling this guy in and out of our graveyard for constant value. Alright guys, and that brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. I appreciate your guys' support, and I'll see you in the next one.